What really happened behind Jungkook's faint smile and Taehyung's deep gaze in HYB's hallway? Was that encounter merely a coincidence, or was it something greater, deeper, and far more shocking than anyone could have imagined? The ARMY world was once again shaken when a brief clip from HYB's internal cameras spread online, showing two figures who were once inseparable now meeting in silence, eyes locked as if time itself had stopped between them. And in the wake of Jungkook's mother's recent confession, a new fact has begun to surface, a truth that not only reveals the state of their personal relationship, but also shakes the very foundation of trust between them. It all began with what seemed like an ordinary visit. Taehyung, dressed casually in a black mask, was seen arriving at Jungkook's private residence in Hanam-dong. At first, many assumed it was nothing more than a friendly drop-by, considering how long they had known each other since their trainee days. But when HYB's security camera later captured the two crossing paths in the office, no greeting, no smile, just a heavy gaze filled with unspoken emotion, everything changed. What had happened earlier at Jungkook's house? And why did their expressions seem to conceal something deeper than a simple meeting between bandmates? After Jungkook's mother's confession surfaced a few weeks ago, the atmosphere inside HYB reportedly shifted. In an interview that was never meant to go public, Jungkook's mother said something that made everyone pause. She said, "Taehyung knows more about Jungkook than anyone else in this world, even me." The sentence, simple but earth-shattering, became the spark that ignited endless speculation.
What did she mean by that?
Was there something she was hinting at? And why did Jungkook seem so careful every time Taehyung's name was mentioned in front of the cameras? An internal source from HYB, who wished to remain anonymous, claimed that since that day, the atmosphere in the building had grown tense. There was a kind of silence that no one dared to break. Jungkook was often seen working alone until late at night, while Taehyung spent most of his time in the underground practice room, as if both were deliberately avoiding each other. But everything changed on the day of that recording, when they were finally brought face to face, not on stage, not at a public event, but in the quietest corridor of the building that had witnessed their journey since adolescence. Their eyes said more than words could, said one staff member who witnessed the moment. There was guilt, there was longing, but there was also distance. That description immediately sent fans into a frenzy. Did the mother's confession reopen an old wound between them? Or did it reveal a truth that only the two of them had been carrying all this time? A few days after the HYB encounter, Taehyung posted a photo of the evening sky with the caption, "Sometimes the truth hurts more than silence." Fans instantly connected it to the situation. Jungkook, meanwhile, uploaded a video of himself practicing with the words, "Not everything you see is what it seems." Two short sentences, yet they felt like echoes of each other, both cryptic, both emotional, as though the two were speaking through silence. For ARMY, this wasn't just another interaction. They've always known that every move, every glance between Jungkook and Taehyung carries a deeper story. But this time it felt different. The air between them seemed charged, with tension, unspoken emotion, and a mystery that no one could quite name. And once again, everything circled back to that one haunting question. What exactly did Jungkook's mother say before everything changed? Some reports claim that Jungkook's mother met privately with Taehyung before the interview took place. No one knows what they talked about, but someone close to Jungkook's family revealed that his expression changed noticeably afterward. Jungkook appeared unusually quiet, lost in thought, and even paused his vocal training for several days. Fans who follow his studio schedules noticed it immediately. Could the mother's words have reopened something from the past, something Jungkook and Taehyung had buried long ago? Taehyung, on the other hand, seemed to react in the opposite way. He became more active on social media, sharing cryptic, emotional messages. In one post, he wrote, "Forgiveness is harder when it comes from someone you never blamed." Many fans believed that line was directed at Jungkook. But what could there be to forgive if there was no blame? Were they both hiding something more complicated than a simple misunderstanding? HYB has remained completely silent. No statement, no clarification, not even an attempt to calm the rumors. And that silence has only fueled the fire. Fans and netizens began dissecting every past moment, every concert glance, every behind-the-scenes video, every small gesture. Some even revisited an old interview where Jungkook looked at Taehyung with an unreadable expression. At the time, no one paid attention. But now, with this new context, everything suddenly feels significant. Sometimes the smallest moments hide the biggest truths, wrote one fan account with millions of followers. That line captures the entire situation perfectly. The deeper fans dig, the more the puzzle pieces start to connect. The mother's ambiguous confession, Taehyung's quiet visit, the tension in HYBE's hallway, all forming a picture too emotional and too real to ignore. One of the most persistent theories is that Jungkook's mother's confession wasn't just about emotional closeness. Some speculate she might have revealed something deeply personal, something that only Jungkook and Taehyung understood. Without confirmation, however, everything remains a mystery. What's undeniable is the change in their dynamic afterward. More guarded, more emotional, yet strangely distant. Then came the true shock. A few days later, an online community posted a short video showing Jungkook smiling faintly at his phone. Fans quickly speculated that he was reading a message from Taehyung. Soon after, Taehyung posted an emoji, a crescent moon, the same one Jungkook had used in a post months earlier. To fans, that emoji carries special meaning between them. Was it a sign of reconciliation? A subtle way of saying I understand? Or was it simply coincidence? A coincidence too perfectly timed to believe. Amid the swirling rumors, one thing is certain. The relationship between Jungkook and Taehyung has entered a new phase. They are no longer just bandmates in a global phenomenon, nor simply friends who grew up together under the blinding spotlight. They are two men facing the weight of their shared past and the price of unspoken truth. Jungkook's mother's confession may have disrupted their balance, but it also opened a door, a chance for honesty, for growth, and perhaps for healing. And now, the world watches every step they take, holding its breath. Will they return to how they once were? Or is this the beginning of a quiet distance that will slowly grow between them? The answers may not come soon. But ever since that moment captured by HYBE's camera, since that silent, piercing exchange of gazes, the world knows something has shifted. Whether it's a painful truth or a bittersweet secret, only time will tell. But one thing is certain, that meeting was no accident. It was the first chapter of a new story, one more intimate, more complicated, and more real than anything we've ever imagined between Jungkook and Taehyung. And yet, even as the whispers grew louder and theories spread across every corner of the internet, neither Jungkook nor Taehyung said a single word. Their silence became a language of its own, a language that only those who had followed them for years could begin to interpret. Every step, every expression, every choice of song during live broadcasts began to feel like a message wrapped in secrecy. It wasn't until a week after that fateful encounter at HYBE that something unexpected happened. Jungkook appeared at the company's rooftop studio late at night, accompanied only by a sound engineer. The building was almost empty, the city lights reflected off the glass walls, and yet someone recorded the faint sound of a piano echoing through the hallways. The melody was hauntingly familiar. It was the same tune Taehyung had been playing during one of his live streams months ago. Fans who caught the leak couldn't hold back their emotions. Why that song, they asked. Is he trying to say something to Taehyung through music? Hours later, Jungkook posted a story on his social media. A simple phrase, without context. For old time's sake. Nothing more. But those 4 words sent waves through the fandom. Was it nostalgia? Regret? Or a quiet plea for reconciliation? The mystery deepened further when Taehyung liked the post but said nothing, no comment, no caption, just a silent acknowledgement that made everything even more complicated. Rumors began to swirl that HYBE's management had held a closed-door meeting regarding the situation. Several insiders claimed that the company was aware of the growing tension between the two, but had chosen not to intervene, believing that personal matters should not affect professional commitments. Yet the silence itself felt calculated. Why would a company as powerful as HYB allow speculation of this magnitude to spiral unchecked, unless they knew something the public didn't? Meanwhile, fans began to notice subtle changes in the group's schedule. Projects that were supposed to include both Jungkook and Taehyung suddenly shifted focus. Taehyung was seen collaborating with a European fashion house, while Jungkook was rumored to be preparing a solo project in Los Angeles. The separation seemed intentional, though neither artist confirmed nor denied it. But fate has its own sense of timing. 2 weeks later, during a behind-the-scenes segment of a promotional shoot, the two unexpectedly appeared in the same frame. It was brief, just a passing moment, but the camera caught Taehyung turning his head ever so slightly toward Jungkook, their eyes meeting for barely 2 seconds before both looked away. The tension was palpable, yet beneath it, there was something else, a flicker of familiarity, the ghost of an unspoken bond that refused to die. Fans froze the frame, analyzed the expressions, debated endlessly online. Some saw coldness, others saw longing. And then came the second shock. A letter, allegedly handwritten by Jungkook, was posted anonymously on an online forum. Though it was never confirmed to be his, the handwriting, tone, and phrasing bore uncanny similarities. In the letter, the writer spoke about the weight of words that were never meant to reach the world, and forgiveness that feels heavier than guilt. It ended with a single line. If he ever reads this, I hope he understands that silence was never meant to be distance. Within hours, the internet exploded. The post went viral, and even major media outlets began reporting on it. Some called it a heartfelt message from one friend to another. Others claimed it was part of a marketing strategy. But ARMY knew it was too raw, too personal, too painfully honest to be scripted. Taehyung's response came days later, not in words, but in music. During a live performance at a private event, he sang a rearranged version of one of BTS's older songs. What caught everyone's attention was that he changed one lyric. Instead of "We're still together," he sang, "I still remember." The audience fell silent. The cameras caught his trembling voice, his eyes glistening as though holding back something deeper than the lyrics could express. And somewhere, far away, fans believed Jungkook was watching. By then, it was no longer just a story about two idols. It had become something larger, a reflection of friendship, misunderstanding, and the painful complexity of human emotion under the weight of fame. People began revisiting their earliest interviews, tracing their laughter, their casual touches, the way Jungkook used to call Taehyung his comfort zone. Every memory now felt tinged with melancholy. What had gone wrong between them? Was it the pressure, the fame, or something more personal, tied to that mysterious confession that had changed everything? Speculation reached a fever pitch when Jungkook's mother was seen leaving HYB headquarters accompanied by a staff member. Photographers captured her looking unusually solemn. Some fans speculated she might have met with the company's management, or even with Taehyung himself. No official statement followed, but soon after, Taehyung posted a cryptic message on his social platform. A mother's words can heal, but they can also reopen wounds. The post shattered the internet. It was the first time Taehyung had even hinted at acknowledging Jungkook's mother's earlier statement. Fans began connecting the dots. What if the confession wasn't about love or rivalry, but something deeper? Something that only family would understand? Theories flourished. Some said it involved a personal promise. Others suggested it was about a misunderstanding that had lasted years. Through it all, Jungkook remained silent. But his silence spoke louder than anything. During a magazine interview in Los Angeles, when asked about his recent music, he simply smiled and said, "Sometimes inspiration comes from what hurts the most." The interviewer moved on, unaware of the tremor those words would cause among fans who knew the context. Then, unexpectedly, came a reunion. A fan-captured video showed Jungkook and Taehyung at a small private dinner organized by one of their mutual producers. The video, though grainy, showed them sitting across from each other, exchanging polite smiles. For the first time in weeks, they seemed at peace, quiet, restrained, but no longer cold. The air between them had softened, like a storm finally beginning to calm. That moment reignited hope. Maybe this wasn't the end of their bond. Maybe it was a transformation. Maybe the confession wasn't a curse, but a key. Because sometimes truth, no matter how painful, forces people to grow, to confront what they've been avoiding for too long. Even now, fans continue to debate what really happened. Some believe the two have reconciled privately. Others think the distance remains. But one thing no one can deny: after that confession, that visit, and that unforgettable hallway encounter, Jungkook and Taehyung's relationship will never be the same. Perhaps, in time, they will share their side of the story. Or perhaps, they will let it remain as it is, a silent understanding, carried through music, glances, and words unsaid. But until that day comes, the world will keep wondering, what did Jungkook